Hi, this is Mary Morgan of the Morgan Network. Welcome to Marketing Sense. Today I'm in the Big Apple, delighted to be asking my friend and agency strategist extraordinaire, Suzanne Powers, 3 questions about marketing these days. Greetings, Suzanne. For people that don't know you, tell us about you and what you do.
Well, first of all, thanks for chatting with me. I currently work as the Global Strategy Officer for Crispin Porter Bogusky, which is I would say relatively young compared to many other agencies. You know, we're from the 80s, so I'll say that. And we're much more of a creative, you know, just, I wouldn't say hot shop, but, you know, definitely more of a creative boutique style agency that has gone through a massive growth trajectory. So they brought me in to really help with that growth, help figure out the global scale and the global potential of the brand. And that's my current gig. I work on global brands as well for them. I do a lot of new business. And I really just work with my fellow peers to architect out the future of the company, which is pretty darn exciting. My old world, I was the global strategy person at TBWA, which is another agency, relatively big agency, down the street actually from here. And I worked across global brands, so things like Nivea, a lot of the Mars brands, Pedigree, Whiskas, Twix, Dove Galaxy, what else did I do? Snickers, lots of chocolate, lots of food as well. Human food too, let's not forget Uncle Ben's, Seeds of Change. There was a lot of stuff that Mary and I played on together, which was fantastic. I touched Apple back in the day, did a lot of automotive, technology. I was originally brought into TBWA to start a tech group. It was called Shyit.com, so you can see that dates me. That shows you when that was, pre-bubble bursting the first time. Anyway, but you know, my passion is strategy, and that goes across everything from putting great teams together to figuring out thorny business issues to really crafting great creative strategies that can be real culture changers, which is why I'm happy to be at CP+B, because that's their specialty. So I'm learning a lot from these fun people that I'm with now.
All right, now for the 3 questions. Question 1, what do you wish clients or marketers were asking you?
It's such a good question, because I wish they would ask us that, first of all. But also, I wish that they would ask us to really get in deep with their business issues. Listen, we're all humans, and I can always tell when a client is quote-unquote distracted by something. If we're in the middle of a creative presentation and there's distraction going on, there is no hope for any idea, no matter how good it is. So what I would rather do is understand the business issues, dig into it very deeply, roll up our sleeves, which you and I have done quite a few times, and really figure out how to solve for it. The solve may be advertising, the solve may be a marketing solution, the solve may be a complete new business reorg. But, you know, as a strategy person, the big beefy ones are the ones where I get really excited. And the guys that I work with also get really excited about that. I mean, we're basically, I think ad agencies have gotten a little bit of a bad rap of being addy people, and maybe some of them are, but the people that I tend to gravitate towards and work with a lot are really innovation people. So, you know, use those innovation brains to actually help you solve the bigger stuff, and then you're going to get better work out of it as well.
Question 2, how should marketers go about optimizing global efforts with their agency partners?
Well, global is ever-changing. When I started on my own personal journey of being a global person, which I got roped into by perhaps you as well, I think helped with some of that roping, but it was about 8 or 9 years ago, and it was a very different era, and you know, globalization was a buzzword, but nobody really knew what it meant. And I think now, given the technology that we all have at our fingertips and attached to every appendage, we really are quite globalized, and the sense of place is so different from a geographic standpoint, it doesn't even make any sense anymore. That said, we still are living with very old models that were created before that technology. They were created before, quote-unquote, globalization became more than a buzzword. And particularly within client organizations and agency organizations, we don't have a new way forward yet. And so we're a little paralyzed. We're a little, as I would say, half pregnant. We know the old model doesn't really work, but we still like some of those things. We don't quite have the new quote-unquote model solved yet. and we're super nervous to trust it. So hence why I actually took this job, because I thought I don't walk into a place with huge infrastructure, meaning 200, 300 plus offices. I don't walk into a place with a tried and true methodology that, you know, either binds or doesn't, in most cases doesn't bind those offices. And I have the chance to actually kind of create it and experiment from scratch. And figure out, in a world where geography isn't the total equalizer, what do you do and how do you do it? That said, it's very hard to get clients on board with that. I'm being super honest. I mean, it's really, really tough. It's really tough. And I think given the economic climate, I'm personally hoping that we're going to see a lot more adjustment of client organizations, of ways of working. I mean, back to the optimization angle on this, you know, we all still have some archaic models that we have to work through.
Sure.
And we have to solve them. And there's nothing better than a good old recession to make us come up with a new way of doing things.
That's for sure.
You know?
Last question. Can you share with us one of your favorite learning experiences?
Okay, I'm going to give you two, and I promise they're short. The first one is pedigree. And when we won pedigree, I was at TBWA at the time. We thought we were getting a project in China. It was a phone call. And actually the phone call turned into, no, it's not the project in China I had mentioned before. You're actually getting it globally at 60 countries. Don't mess it up. Click. So it was a very wonderful celebratory moment. I think I had a few glasses of wine, maybe. And then got to work with solving how we would figure out this thing, because the business was in a lot of trouble. It was a massive, massive brand. Obviously in many more countries than just 60, but those were the primary ones where we had to solve things. A brand at different levels of maturity as well, and different levels of development as well. And we had to find something that would be the true north for not just the brand and not just the advertising, but the company itself. The company had lost its soul a bit. So the learning for me was, again, digging into those business issues, really understanding what's working and what isn't working and why, and primarily focusing on the whys and figuring out how we could actually solve for that on a global scale. That was huge learning for me. I mean, before that, I kind of played with global a little, and you flirt with it, and you do some car stuff, and gee, it looks the same in every country because it's metal, but this is a very different proposition. And it took hold very quickly internally in the organization. I think that was another big learning for me, that if you do something that you launch internally first, and I'm not talking a campaign, but an actual idea, an ethos, a way of working, a belief system inside a company, then that actually turns into something that's a lot deeper. And it turns into things like, yes, a great campaign, yes, the right way to hire associates that fit with the brand, and also things like a dog adoption effort, which is one of the things I'm most proud of having touched, you know, from one country to a 40-something country, and then I lost count. So pretty exciting stuff, actually. And then my second one is the one I'm living every single day, which is leaving, you know, the wonderful thing about our older agency models is if you're a global person, there's a lot of security in that. I could call any one of my cohorts in any country at any time, and they would help me think through something and help me do something because the infrastructure was there. Now I'm in a company that I'm trying to solve for that in a very different way. And so I'm learning every single day how to do that, but I'm also learning about the brand that is my brand. And you know this, I have said to many of my clients in the past, live your brand, live your brand, live your brand.
Thanks for inviting me to the center.
Sure.
And sharing your thoughts.
Of course.